Hello friends, I am finally here with this chunky macrame blanket tutorial. This has been so highly requested and I am so excited to bring it to y'all. So for these blankets, I like to use Yarn Bee yarn. I will put this all in the description below. But for this blanket, I used the Eternal Bliss collection by Yarn Bee, and basically it is just their chunky knit yarn. This yarn I found at Hobby Lobby. Don't come for me, I do not shop there anymore, but I am going to use the stuff that I have already had. I also know that this chunky knit blanket yarn is at Michael's, it's just a different brand, but it's the same type of yarn. And then also Walmart has it as well. Each of these skeins in the Yarn Bee, and probably in most other brands as well, is 28 yards. So what I did was made 4 equal sections and they were 21 feet each. With these measurements, I was able to make a 38-inch by 48-inch blanket. This is the perfect size blanket for my very tall 5-year-old. And I love to use it too. It's so comfy and it is the perfect blanket to lounge on the couch with and watch a movie. And I forgot to mention that you're gonna need a pole or a dowel, or sometimes I use a shower curtain rod to hang your project from. You are going to be taking your blanket off of this, or you can keep it on if you want to use it as a wall hanging or something else. To add your yarn to the dowel, you are going to fold it directly in half and then put the yarn over the dowel, and you have created a loop. You're going to pull the tail of that yarn through the loop at this point, just like I am doing here. You will be using this knot to secure all 26 of your pieces if you are making the same size blanket as me. For this blanket, we will be using an alternating square knot pattern. To make a square knot, you're going to take 4 adjacent strands of yarn. You're going to take the leftmost cord and place it over the 2 center cords, and then take the rightmost cord and place that over the left cord and then behind the center cords and through the loop that you created with the left. And I know that is such a mouthful, so please take your time and go back and make this as many times as you, and then just make sure you pull to tighten. We are then going to repeat the process by using the outermost right cord over the center cords. Take the outermost left cord over that right cord and then behind the center cord and through the loop that you created with the right cord, and then pull to tighten, and that is your completed square knot. You will then take the next 4 cords and continue the square knot pattern all the way down the row. In order to create the square knot pattern, in the next row, we need to move aside the first 2 cords. Our first knot will begin with the 4 adjacent cords after that. And this is where you will begin your square knot pattern. Does that make sense? If not, just do what I'm doing, okay? And you're gonna work your way all the way down to the end. And this is me just showing the other two that I took aside to create the alternating square knot pattern. And when you start your third row, you will again incorporate the first 4 cords to again create your alternating square knot pattern. Okay, so at this point, we're just moving right along. You're just going to continue going and going and going until you get to the bottom, until you start running out of cord. It was about halfway through the blanket that I realized I had cut my lengths wrong. I just want to caution everyone. I mean, listen, it's not that deep, but please be careful when you cut your yarn. Make sure that you are double checking that it is all the same length, because how I cut my yarn, I guess I may have been pulling it and I was cutting some lengths longer and shorter than the others. So you will see in the next clip that I have here that some of my lengths, once I started to get to the bottom, were very short. This could be rectified if you had extra yarn by tying them together to make a longer length. You can always just hide that knot. You just tie it with a regular overhand knot, and you could always just hide that knot within the chunkiness of the knot of the square knots pattern. I did not do that because my blanket was able to get to the size that I needed it to be, but I just wanted to show you guys, like you can see here, how some were still very long and some were super short, and I couldn't continue the blanket unless I added extra length, which I didn't need to do because I was done anyway. But if you wanted a longer blanket, you could have that. And here we are, friends, this beautiful finished product. I love it so much. I really wanted to keep it on the dowel, but I just used a random pole in the shed, so I had to take it off and use it as a blanket. But the next time I make one of these, I'm definitely going to make it on a pretty piece of wood to be a wall hanging. So it doesn't have to come off if you don't want it to be a blanket. It could be a cool chunky wall hanging. This was me just cleaning up the ends. And then here I am admiring how beautiful this piece is as it is. Oh my gosh. But to take it off, all you do is just slide it right off the pole at the top. If you have a dowel or something where it's hard to slide it off, you could just snip it right where your Larks head knots are. And then I will show how you can finish off those knots. But here I am just showing off the sides. Look at my husband's shadow. He's so proud. I love him so much. Okay, so this is the ends of, which is where I just took the dowel out. So all of these are just, you know, you see their little loops here, so we're gonna have to cut them. If you want to, you can leave them there if you want. I'm not really sure why you would want to. You might get caught up in it. So here's me just cutting them, just showing you how you just cut each loop. For this blanket, I actually ended up taking out this knot, but if you would like to, at the ends, for a little extra security, you can tie the 2 adjacent strands between each square knot just in a little knot like this. And here is the final product. It is so beautiful. Thank you guys so much, and if you make one, tag me.